Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Math with Audrey. Sorry I'm late, but when you're working with a student and they need that extra time to make sure that that information is solidified, that takes precedence over anything. So, I want to continue on with our lovely journey of writing equations, or writing linear equations, if I may be precise. So, last night, in the midst of all kinds of craziness, we were talking about writing equations using slope-intercept form. So, slope-intercept form was that y equals mx plus b. So, your m is your slope, and your y-intercept was the b. So, if they give you the slope and they give you the y-intercept, all you have to do is just plug it in, right? That's all you have to do. Then I kind of did a little bit of graphing. So a lot of people generally will just say, I don't know where to start. So where you basically can start is always your y-intercept, okay? The number without the variable. That is where you start on the y-axis. Hence the name y-intercept. So in this case, my y-intercept was 5. So on my y-axis, my first point was going to be at positive 5. Then I went to the slope. The slope is like telling you the direction, like where to go to make your next point. So if my slope was negative 1/3 x, you can say the negative 1 over positive 3, or you can say 1 over negative 3. So if we took a look at negative 1 over 3, that means at my starting point, I would have gone down 1 because your numerator is your rise, okay, is your up or down. Since it's negative, you're going down. So we will go down 1. And then since it was a positive 3, you would go to the right 3, okay? So as I have it written here in red for the slope, your rise, you're either going up or down, and your run, you're going to the left or to the right. For the rise, if it's positive, you're going up. If it's negative, you're going down. For the run, if it's positive, you're going to the right, and if it's negative, you're going to the left. So we don't really have to, but you could do a table of values. If you wanted to, you could do a table of values, pick some x values, plug it in for your x, and then your answer will be your y. So remember, points or order pairs or coordinates usually comes in an x-y formation. Okay, so the x, then the y. Think of the alphabet, right? So we're going to take this another step, because we tried to do the introduction of it before I lost part of my mind because it was so late. All right. What do we do when they give you a point, the x and the y, and they give you the slope? So one of the ways I carried on with that slope-intercept form. So what we did was we plugged in the 2 for the y's and then negative 3 for the x. And the negative 2/3 went for the m. So what the goal is when you do it this way is you're trying to find your y-intercept. So once you find your y-intercept, then you can summarize it by your equation of the line. So if we take a look, we have our 2 was our y, the m was a negative 2/3, our x was a negative 3, and we're trying to find the b. So negative 2/3 times a negative 3. Negative times negative gives me a positive. So we could turn that whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. If you feel comfortable that way, you can multiply the 2 and the 3 and get the 6. Then multiply the 3 and the 1 to get the 3. So now from here, we would have 6 divided by 3, which gives me a positive 2. So now we have 2 equals 2 plus b. And since we're trying to find what b is, we have to do the opposite. We need to move this 2 to the other side. So we will subtract the 2 on both sides. So 2 minus 2 gave us 0. So our b equals 0. So our y-intercept equaled 0. But you can write it one of two ways. Okay? You could write it as negative 2/3 x, because remember that's my slope, plus 0. But remember, 0 is a placeholder. So we don't really have to hold anything here because we have this negative 2/3 x. So you could simplify it a little bit further by writing y equals negative 2/3 x. And it's assumed, if you don't see a plus or minus a number, it's assumed that your starting point is going to be at 0. That's where this point came from. Okay? Hey, Joey. Okay? So that's where this point came from. So now we're looking at our slope. So we have negative 2 over 3. So from this point, we can go down to 1, 2, and then to the right, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's where this point came from. Okay, let me slide that over a bit. Yep, so that's where this point came from. We start at our b, which is 0. We went down 2, then to the right, 3, to claim that point. Okay, so, okay, what grade of math this is for? This is like Algebra 1. So this could be 7th grade, this could be 8th grade, it could be 9th grade. Some people take it in 10th grade, okay? But this is basically like Algebra 1, all right? Even a little bit of pre-algebra. So, all right. So Keenan, what do you think the answer would be? All right. So we go. Hello. Hello, everyone. All right. So this was us finding using the point and slope, but we used the slope-intercept form to find our equation. What I want to do today is kind of look at what's called point slope. Now, I'm going to be truthful. When it comes to testing and they say find the equation of the line, you get to pick which form you want to use, okay? Just like how we were doing yesterday when we were multiplying. Remember when we were multiplying polynomials yesterday? Well, if not, that's what we were doing. And I said you can do it one of two ways. You can do it FOIL. If you do binomials, you can do it by using FOIL or distribution, or you can use the box method. You pick which way you want to do. All they care about is their answer, okay? Especially when it comes to those multiple choice type questions. They don't really care about the work. They just want their blessed answer, okay? So let's do this. Oh, thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. Yep, you were shown the box method. There you go. All right. Not a problem. All right, so, oops, almost forgot which one I used. Okay, I used that one. So now, let's say that they gave us the point, which was 5, 3. Oops. And they gave us our slope, which was 4/5. Okay, so they gave us the point 5/3, and our slope is 4/5. Okay. Might want to make that a little bit darker. So we could do our slope-intercept form, or we can use what's called point slope form. Now, point slope form is just the, how should I say, the equation for slope cross multiplied. Okay? Now, I know normally if I saw the equation for slope, and let me flip over. I know there's a lot of flipping going on. So if I look at the equation of slope, we have y2 minus y1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Or, as I like to say, you can do it the other way. As long as your 1s and your 2s line up, it really doesn't matter. But this side makes sense because we generally read from left to right. But whatever you feel rocks your boat, do it. If I were to cross multiply this with my, if it said m equaled, m is going to be multiplied with x2 minus x sub 1. And that's going to equal y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So if I take a look at the equation, this is basically what's happening. The only things that's missing is my sub 2's. But I'm not using 2 points, I'm only using 1. Okay, so I'm using 1 point and I'm using the slope. So I'm just plugging in, this is going to be my x sub 1 and my y sub 1 because we're only using 1 point. So when we plug in, we have y minus my y sub 1, which is 3, equals my m, which is 4/5, times x minus my 5, because that's my x sub 1. Okay, just zooming in a little bit. All right. So now, with this information, we could try to do the distributive property. All right. So on the left-hand side, my y minus 3 just comes down. But my 4/5 times x is exactly that. 4/5 x. Positive 4/5, negative 5. That's going to give us a negative. And since we're multiplying, here's the shortcut. Ready? When your denominator and the whole number is exactly the same, they can cancel out. Because, let me put this as a side note. Okay, let me just put this as a side note. So we have our 4/5 times our 5, which in this case is a negative 5. But anytime we have a fraction being multiplied by a whole number, we can put that whole number over 1. Okay, make it into a fraction. So you could multiply straight across, which give you a negative 20 over 5 and then reduce. Or you can do what's called cross simplify. Okay, when you cross simplify, this is almost the same as saying negative 5 divided by 5. Well, negative 5 divided by 5 gives me a negative 1. So now what's left is 4 times negative 1, which gives me a negative 4. That's what you get when you multiply 4/5 times negative 5. The 5's will cancel out, leaving behind a 1. So now you got 4 times negative 1. That gives you a negative 4. Okay? You do what makes you feel comfortable. Because anytime that you're doing any kind of testing, that's not the time to try to do something new. They don't care about the approach. They only care, do you understand the concept enough to get the correct answer? All right? All right, so please keep that in mind. All right, hello. What are we working on today? We are going from point and a slope to equation of a line using the point slope form. All right, so now we're almost done. Okay, we want to solve this equation for y. So the only way I can get y by itself is I need to get rid of this negative 3. So I got to think of the inverse, the opposite. So the opposite of negative 3 is going to be a positive 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides of the equal sign. These 3's will cancel out, leaving me with y equals. I can bring down my 4/5 x. So now I have negative 4 plus 3. Okay? I owe somebody $4. I gave them 3. That means I still owe them $1. All right? So my equation for the line that contains this point, 5, 3, and has this slope, 4/5, is y equals 4/5 x minus 1. Okay. All right, how are we doing? Sometimes it's kind of hard for me to work a problem out and then check, so I'm checking your responses. Okay, so it just cleared your confusion. Awesome. All right. Okay, how are we feeling? Okay, thank you so much for the follows, guys. Is that my girl Kelly? I haven't seen her in a minute. All right, so now let's try another one. I know, I feel like DJ Khaled right now. Another one. All right, where's my purple pen? Here we go. Okay. So if you have questions, please do not hesitate. Put them in. Questions pertaining to math, not life. Because I'm still trying to figure my life out. Like, how am I going to help you? Like, how? I have no idea. All right, so let's try our point, which we got 4, -4. But this time my slope is a whole number. Let's say my slope is a whole number of 2. Okay, what about putting the coordinates in the grid? Am I going to graph them? I wasn't. Would you like for me to graph them? They're like, we wouldn't be asking, Audrey. All right, well, let me erase this space for a second, just so I can take that room. Because sorry about the shaking. Because my setup is basically being held together by a wind and a prayer. One wrong move and all hell breaks loose up in this. All right. So what we got? So -1 and 4. Okay, we can do this. So if I have, we'll take it here. We could take it to about here. So we got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll pretend that's a straight line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so as I'm setting this up, where do I start? if I were to graph this, and I'm graphing the last equation that we just did, let me unzoom a bit. Where would I start? Put it in the chat. Where would I start? SOS? I like that. SOS says -1. Do we agree with SOS? Gente says -1. Okay. Angel is saying 0. True to a point. Okay, but we definitely want to go to, we can start at 0. I can see what you're thinking. I can see your process. We would normally start at 0, but we're going to go to the y-intercept. So I see what you're talking about, Angel. So if I start here at 0, 0, but I need to go to my y-intercept is -1. So I'm putting my first point at -1. Okay. So now, from this point, we need a second point so we can graph our line. We just need at least 2 points. So where do I go to graph my second point? So where do I go to graph my second point? Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm seeing rise 4 and over 5. Now, which way over, Angel? Okay, I do see a rise 4. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you start here at the -1, don't say, okay, I start here, this is 1. You didn't move. You didn't make one step. By me moving here, that's one step. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. Good. Thank you. And then we're going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make our next point. So think of it like street blocks. This is your house. How do you get to your friend's house? You can't walk through people's homes, especially in Baltimore. You get shot. So what you will do is you're going to have to go to some city blocks. I will go up 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn right and go 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? All right. On the state test. It's okay. See, here's my thing. Everyone stresses so much. The state assessments, all these assessments do not define who you are. Okay? It doesn't define who you are. See, now you got me doing my line slightly crooked, but it's okay. All right? All you can do is just try the best at it. Yes, Kayla. Okay? Yes. Okay? Once you know what your y-intercept is and you know what your slope is, you can graph any line. Your y-intercept is the number that doesn't have an x or y to it. That's where you start on the y-axis. So if you recall, the y-axis always goes up and down. Okay? The x-axis is the one that goes left to right. Okay? All right. So now, questions about this. Okay, thanks for the follows, everyone, and for the likes. I appreciate it. All right, so there's 129 of us. Ooh, 132, just jumped. Let's see if we can tap a little bit, see if we can get to like 2K. Maybe a little bit more. That would be so lovely. Okay, just do a quick little mad tap before we get started with the next one. Okay, before we get started with the next one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Plus, I need to set up my pens as well. All right. All right. Fabulous. Thank you, and thank you. Is this Esme? I'm just kind of curious if that's Esme because that last name looks familiar. All right, if it is, say hi. Okay, so dealing with the next problem. Hi. So we have our point, 4 and -4. So with this 4, we have x. The -4 is my y. Okay, so that's my coordinates. So this is basically my x1 and my y1. The reason why I put the ones, because we only got 1 point. All right, we have our slope, which is 2. So we're going to use our point slope formula. The reason why I do point slope, because I got a point and I got a slope. They didn't get too deep with the names of these formulas, okay? It was just really, here's point slope. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, or x sub 1. All right. So the only areas, there's 3 spots that we're going to plug information in. We're going to plug information in for the y1, the slope, and the x1. All right, so we're just plugging that information in. My y1 is a -4, and every time I'm substituting a -4, I love putting parentheses around it. My m is 2, and my x sub 1, that's going to be a positive 4. Everything else comes down. So I got my y minus, I have my equals, I have a parenthesis, and x minus. So this is like Algebra 1. So what we're doing is we are writing an equation on a line, and what we're using is called point slope form. Okay. All right. So when we plugged in, we plugged the -4 in for the y1. Okay, so we just plugged it in there. Hey, Janice. So we didn't substitute, we didn't plug in y minus 4. No, we did y minus -4. The -4 only went in for the y sub 1. Okay, not for the minus y sub 1, just the y sub 1. That's why we have a parenthesis around that. So this is actually y minus a negative. When you minus a negative, what happens? Sub 1 means the first one, the y for the first point. A lot of people just say y1, y2. The reason why it's sub, because it's a subscript. Okay. So SOS says positive. Get rid of the question mark. Because you are correct. Yes, Janice, yes. Okay. When you minus a negative, it turns positive. Think about it. When you multiply negative times negative, it turns positive. When the signs are the same as when you multiply, your answer is always going to be positive. So here, you're going to have y plus 4 equals, now you got your 2 times x minus 4. So the left-hand side is pretty much okay. But the right-hand side, we need to multiply the 2 to everything inside of this parenthesis. What do I get when I do that? What do I get as a result on the right-hand side? I'm just going to bring down my y plus 4. But when I distribute the 2 to everything inside the parenthesis, what do I get? Okay. Okay, here, pi's here. Good. 2x minus 8, Space Cadet, 2x minus 8, Kim B, 2x minus 8, SOS, 2x minus 8 is moving. Lovely. So Janice, 2x minus, not 28. I think you probably accidentally put the 2. Okay, so I have 2x minus 8, 2x minus 8, 2x minus 8. Good. So when we distribute, 2 times x gives us 2x. 2 times negative 4 gives us negative 8. Okay. So now, our goal is to solve this for y, because we want our equation to be y equals mx plus b. So right now, that plus 4, that's in the way. So the only way we can get rid of that is to subtract 4 on both sides. So positive 4 and negative 4 will cancel out. Our y will be by itself, success. We have 2x. All right, subtracting the 4, minus 4 on both sides. So 2x is what? Y equals 2x. Okay, so Kim B says negative 12. Do we believe Kim B? Okay, Oscar saying negative 12. Okay, Space Cadet, Jimmy. Oh, mi gente. We got that. Drum King. Negative 67. Come on, Drum King. Come on. If you're going to prank, do it right. Okay, Space Cadet, negative 4p. Come on, Space Cadet. Come on. All right, good. I see the replacement. No, you were right the first time. Well, not the first time, but the first. This will give me a negative 12. Okay? So, when you have both of the signs are the same, okay, you're adding them together. When the signs are different, that's when you're subtracting and taking the signage of the largest number. So if this was, just playing devil's advocate, say if that was like a plus 4, then we had negative 8 and a plus 4, the signs are different. So I would subtract. So if I owed somebody $8 and I paid them 4, I still owe them $4. So my answer would be negative. So in this case, you owed somebody $8. For some reason, they loaned you another $4. So now you owe them $12. Okay? All right. W? What's W? Okay. All right. So my equation of the line is going to be y equals 2x minus 12. So if I were to graph this and I'm just thinking about my space, I'm probably not going to count by ones. Why would I say that? Why would I say I'm not going to count, especially the y values? I'm not going to count by ones. Why would I say that? Too many lines to 12, good. It'll be too big, good. Okay? Because if I try to do, I want to count by, what could I count by instead? You can count by 2s. Okay, good. 2s, 2s, 2s. Hey, Michael. Hello, Veronica. Welcome in. All right, so we can count by 2s for the y-axis, but the x-axis we can still count by 1s. That's perfectly fine. All right, so this will be a negative 2 here, This will be a positive 2 here. This will be a positive 1, and this will be a negative 1. All right, so starting at the 0, I'm going to go down to negative 12. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So here's my first point at negative 12. Now, how do I go and draw the next point? Okay, how do I draw the next point? Let me slide over just a titch. Okay. Okay, so I will go up to and over which way? Left or right? Okay, SOS answer that. Over to the right 2. Good. So I would go. Now, if you see a whole number, make it into a fraction. Slope is nothing but a fraction. It's your rise over your run. If you have a whole number, make it into a fraction. Put it over 1. So from this point, I'm going to go up 2. Now remember, I'm counting by 2's on my y's. So I'm going up 2, but over 1. Over to the right 1. Because it's positive. Going up 2, over to the right 1. I know it looks small, but remember, we're counting our y's by 2's. Okay, we're counting our y's by 2's. That's the only reason. Okay, it'll be a little more spread out if it was, oops. Got a little crazy with the line. Nice long lines. Okay. Questions so far? Questions? All right. Yep. So your rise was 2, your run was 1. Good. All right. So I think when it comes to graphing lines, a lot of you, like I keep saying, a lot of you guys keep forgetting. Where do I start? You always want to start with your y-intercept. Okay, so that's your starting point. No matter what kind of equation. Even if, hold on, let me finish this point. Okay, let's say, playing devil's advocate again, let's say it said y equals negative 12 plus 2x. Okay, let's just say it said that. Guess what? That negative 12 is still your starting point. No matter how they arrange it, it's always the one that does not have an x or a y next to it. That's called a constant. So you look for your constant. That's where you start on the y-axis. And then you look for your slope. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, if it does, light it up. Hit the likes. Let's see the hearts. If that does make sense. If you have questions, please put the question in the chat. Okay. All right. Okay, some of you guys get it. Veronica says she gets it. Thank you, Space Cadet. I appreciate that. Okay. Bet or BET says cool. Good. All right. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Let's do another one. Okay. And this time, I'm going to leave you alone, and I'm going to leave this as a reference. Okay, so I'm going to leave the previous example as a reference, and I want you to find the equation of the line. Now, just so we can get everybody a chance to do the process, I'm going to give you guys a good 2 minutes, Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and there's a reason why I'm giving you 2 minutes. All right? Just trust me. I'll explain it afterwards. So, for 2 minutes, I don't want you to put the answer in. If you feel like I'm itching to put the answer in there, put the answer in, but don't hit send. Okay? All right, so I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going to give you a problem for you to work out the equation line, but do not put your answer in until the 2 minute mark, until I say to put the answers in. Okay? All right, I know it's called discipline, people. It's called discipline. It's like, I don't know that word. I was like, yes, you do. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let's say that we have -3, -3, and my slope is 5/3. And I know there's some people that are like cringing because it's an improper fraction. Get over yourself. Just give me my equation line. Okay, I'm going to see if I can make sure you guys can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oops. There you go. I'm going to put that right there. Okay, the clock has started. Michael. Swear. I felt like I was in class just a second ago. Michael. I know you didn't. I'm telling you. Okay, don't be afraid of it. I know there's some people that are like, I gotta leave. She's giving me work. Okay, good. All right, just hold on. We're almost done. Okay, 30 seconds. We're doing the equation line, Toki. We're doing the equation line. Y equals mx plus b. Yes, I know. Yeah, we're about to go over it in literally 10 seconds. Okay, go ahead and put your answers in. What do you think is the equation of the line? Okay, welcome in. All those are joining in. What do you guys think? And don't worry, if it's wrong, we'll make the adjustment. Okay, it's not Squid Games. Okay, you're not going to perish if you get the answer wrong. Okay? Okay, it's okay. If it's, hey, that's the only way you're going to figure out if it's right or wrong. I'm here to adjust your thinking. That's it. Okay, I'm not here to judge, because if everyone was perfect and everything was done, yeah, God, put your equation in. Put your equation in as best as you can. All right, good. I need help. Thank you. Thank you for your honesty, Space Cadet. I appreciate that. Oh. Okay. Not too bad, BBL. How'd you know? Oh, you're funny. Okay. Michael, what'd you get for an answer? Where'd you go? Okay. And here's another thing. If you don't know, put a question mark. That's also an option. Okay, put a question mark. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for me to put the answer down, but I want to see what you can do. Eat the rich. Okay. Yep, Space Cadet, I got you. But I know there's like 72 others. Everyone's like trying to escape now. They're like, no, she's having us do work. We're going to leave. All right. So we have our y minus our y sub 1 equals our m times x minus x sub 1. All right, answer down. Okay. All right. So all we're doing is we're substituting the -3 for x1, x sub 1, and a -3 for y sub 1. So when we do that, we have a -3 here, and then there's a -3 here. Anytime I substitute a negative, I like to put parentheses in. And then we put the 5/3 for my slope. All right. Okay. In 20 years? I know, Austin. That's okay. All right. So, how do you know you're wrong? And if you are wrong, make adjustments. Guys, breathe. Just relax. All right, so we got y minus, we have our equals, we have our x minus. So now, we are minusing a negative. When you minus a negative, it turns positive. All right, so that means we have our 5/3 here times x plus 3. Okay, so now let's distribute. What's 5? We got 5/3 times x, so I think we can get that. That's 5/3 x, so we get that part. Plus, what's 5/3 times 3? Put that in the chat. What's 5/3 times 3? Tiffany. Hello. Tiffany says 5. Okay, Kim B says 5. Hello, Glenn Miller. Okay. So Space Cadet, you have 15/3. Remember, you can multiply 5 times 3 but then it's a 3 times 1. So what's 15 divided by 3? Okay, Michael R., you got a 5. There you go, Space Cadet. There you are. All right, so this gives us a 5. Then I'm bringing down my y plus 3. So, forgot the 3. Okay, yes. So now, what do I do next? Okay, what would I do next? Good. Nice. Good job, ladies. Here we go. So we got our subtracting the 3 on both sides because we want to get y by itself. So that means we have y equals, and we have 5/3 x, but this time it's going to be plus 2. Okay. How many of you guys had that as your answer? Let's do a little celebration. Put it up, put it up, put it up. Okay. Pay? Okay, that's how I say it. Okay. All right, will do. Woohoo, yes, good. All right, celebrate yourselves. Good, Pay. Let's celebrate yourselves. Now, while you're celebrating, okay, all right, Michael. Now, while we're celebrating ourselves, let me slide this bad boy over, make it a lot smaller so we can get our graph. And I think we can do our graph just so. So since my numbers are relatively close to each other, I think I can count by ones. I'm gonna kind of come down here though. All right, so we got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, where do we start? Where do we start? Look at your equation and where would I start? Okay, I know originally I would put my pencil in 0, 0. But where would I put my first point? That's what I really should be asking. Okay, good. Kim B, yes. M Devo, yes. Pay, yes. The y-intercept, what's the y-intercept, Pay? At 2, good. All right, Bree, good, at 2. On the y-axis, at 2, excellent. All right, so I'm going to go up to 2, 0, 2. If I went on the y-intercept, so that's my first point. So now I need to look at my slope. My slope says 5/3. So where do I go to draw my next point? Okay, so we're going to go up 5 and then what? Hey, Dolores. Bestie. And over 3. Good. Eccentric. Yes. Okay. So we're not going to go down, Hope. You know it's positive. All right. So we're going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we put our point. Now, would I be wrong? Just plain little devil's advocate here. Would I be wrong if I went down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but over to the left 3, 1, 2, 3? Would this point be wrong? Okay. No, it wouldn't be wrong. Yes, we're learning the slope. Yes, we are. Okay, it wouldn't be wrong. Why is that? Why is that? y going down 5 and to the left 3, not wrong. Okay. It is on the same line, but what's happening to that slope? Yep, it's not wrong. Good. It's still positive. Yes. Because if my slope was down 5, that would be a -5. And if I go to the left 3, that would be a -3. And we always say a negative divided by a negative, my answer will give me a positive. Okay? So yes, it will still be part of the same line. Good, bestie. All right, awesome. Good. All right. So because there's going to be times that even in some of these worksheets, they won't give you enough room, right? So they might even stop here at the 5 and you're like, okay, I can't go up 5. So it forces you to understand that if you negate, that's what it's called when you make things negative, you negate it. When you negate both the numerator and denominator, you still have that true positive slope. Okay? You still have that true positive gradient. Repeat the graph? Sure. So first thing, you always start at the origin. Then you're looking at the y-intercept. This is always your starting point. Okay? The number that doesn't have an x or a y, that is your starting point. That's your y-intercept. That's where you're going to put your first point on the y-axis, which goes up and down. Okay, x-axis go left or right. That's where you put your first point. That's your starting point. Then you're looking at your slope. The slope is the coefficient or the number next to or adjacent to the x. All right. So the coefficient that's adjacent to your x, that's your slope. That's your m. And the slope is your rise, which is the numerator. You're going up 5. And your run, which is your denominator, since it's positive, you're going to the right 3. So you can plot your point. You basically just need 2 points to draw your straight line. Okay. Can you also do the between numbers slope graphs, please? What do you mean between numbers slopes? What do you mean? So just like a point in between it? Or are you talking about what I'm about to show you next, which is 2 points? You have to find the slope. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. All right. How the line with B between the numbers in the graph. You know how like the line with B between the numbers in the graph. I'm trying to understand what's going on here. So the numbers, like what numbers will be between the B? Yeah, I'm not quite sure. That's where I get confused. I went to the right 5 and up 3. Yes. Yes, what? I'm hearing yes. Maybe she means the X and Y pairs anywhere along the line. Okay, so basically like 2 points. And we're trying to find the slope and then the equation of the line. Okay, all right. Thank you. Yes, so remember, your numerator, you're either going up or down. Think about this. Okay, so if you have to write these symbols, write the symbols. Let me zoom so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so your rise, you're either going up or down. You're doing that first, then you're gonna run, go left or right. So you gotta rise out of bed in order to go to the bathroom, okay? I hope this is what you guys do, all right? Okay, so you gotta rise out of bed in order for you to go anywhere, all right? So you have to rise first before you run. Some people like to run before they rise, and they're like, they get confused. Okay? Just keep that same pattern. All right. So the last things I'm going to show you. All right. The last bits that I'm going to show you is what happens. And I'm going to unzoom this so we can all see. Okay, so we're still going to write equations. So with 2 points. Okay, so we're going to write the equation line, but this time it's going to be with 2 points. Where did you purchase this workbook? Well, bestie, let me tell you, I created this workbook. Yep, I got sick and tired of my tutoring clients not having notes, or notes came out of a packet and they just didn't do anything with the packet. So I designed this notebook for them. So I gave them a section for them to put their formulas. 1 second, TikTok wants me to do something funky. Probably just to check that I'm still here. So a section for them to put their formulas and another section to put their steps. Like say for this one was mean, median, mode. And I just put the calculator entry. Like what are the steps to put it into the calculator? And then you have some examples here. You have examples. It could be here, like I have over here. So if you got a worksheet that you just want to take examples from and put it into your notebook, you can do that. The other thing that I have other than the note-taking section is if you're not strong with your multiplication, I have a factor sheet going from 1 to 200. So if you're trying to break down radicals, which I will be talking about next week, if you're trying to do factoring, which I am going to talk about next week, because I think a lot of people are getting ready for their reviews or they're getting ready for the GED or AccuPlacer, and those are 4-point questions, right? Those are the questions you want to get, as well as the writing the equation and finding slope. Those are the big ticket type of questions that will help you pass that exam. Okay, so we have those. We have other stuff in here, like other resources, which will help you to remember certain concepts. Okay, here we got slope. Here we got the slope-intercept form. Here's that point slope form that we were just talking about. And then some other items with the quadratics, which we're going to be working on next week. And then we have the properties of exponents. We have a little bit of geometry with the properties of quadrilaterals. I know a lot of you guys are going into volume. So here's the formulas for volume and surface area, as well as the formula for sector and arc length. A lot of you guys are doing that right now. Pythagorean's theorem, also SOHCAHTOA. And if you're in advanced math, some of you guys are working on the identities. Unless you took trig, that means you did identities early third quarter. I think, yeah, early third quarter towards the end of second quarter. And then the infamous unit circles. Some of you guys are probably about to get into that. So yes, if you go to my profile, you click on the link, which is my website, ACG Math Tutoring. And if you just look up Ultimate Math Notebook, you can purchase yours through Amazon. Yes. Thank you, bestie. All right, thank you, thank you. It was inspired by Cornell Notes because this is basically, I liked this part because if you're a type of person or maybe have a teacher that does quizzes and there's open notes quizzes, boom, instead of you searching for the formula, you get the formulas right away as well as the steps. So now, when we take a look, this time we're given 2 points. So one of the points, let's say we have 3, 5, and the other point is 0, 1. Okay. Yes. Yes. And then if there's a piece of paper that your teacher wants you to have in your notebooks, you can tape it in there, and then you can summarize what is on that paper on the other side. Yep, you can summarize it on this side, and you can tape it on this side. Okay. So now, if they're giving me 2 order pairs, that's telling me in order for me to find the equation of the line, I need 2 things. I need a y-intercept and I need slope. So when they give me 2 points, right away, I know I need to look for my slope. This is going to be my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. Okay, so this is the coordinates of the first point. Reason why I picked this as my first point, because I normally read from left to right. Okay, if you normally read from right to left, you're going to pick this as your first point. Okay, but guess what? You're going to get the same answer regardless. So now I have my other point. So this will be my x sub 2 and my y sub 2, because this is the coordinates of my second point. So one thing I do notice about the 0, 1, this is actually my y-intercept. And how do I know that it's my y-intercept? Because the y-intercept is when your x value is equal to 0. This is my b. Okay, that's my b for that y equals mx plus b. So we already know what my y-intercept is. So you could plot those for the points. You could do that. You could do that. Now, if you're good at graphing rather quickly, that would be good. So yes, we got lucky of the y-intercept. Yep. So now all we need to do is find our slope. So the way that we find our slope, remember, it's the change of y's over the change of x. Delta, which is that little triangle, means change. So if you know any sororities, any fraternities, any of those guys that use this little delta symbol, delta 5, delta sigma, okay, means change. So what that means for us mathematically is we're taking the difference of our y's and put over the difference of our x's. So like I said, I like to go from left to right. So I have my 5 minus my 1 over the difference of my x's, which is 3 minus 0. Now, if you did it the other way, you're going to get the same answer. Okay? So if you did 1 minus 5, and then you did 0 minus 3, this will give you a negative 4 over a negative 3. But a negative divided by a negative will give me positive. Just like if I did 5 minus 1, that gives me 4. And 3 minus 0 gives me 3. Notice I get the same exact answer for slope. And you see how I always say it doesn't matter, you're going to get the same answer. Okay. You're a delta? Okay. Yes, so it is 4/3. Good. All right. So now we have our M. We know our B because we're lucky enough they gave it to us. So now let's just write our equation. So our equation is going to be y equals my M, which is 4/3, x, and my B, which is a positive 1. Because remember, it's a y-intercept. Okay. Good. How are we feeling? All right. Okay, for all those that are coming in, welcome in. If people have questions, please put it into the comments because this is the only way that you can learn it. I really want you to understand it. I don't want you to fear it. Okay? There's no fear here. Hey, Leanne. Okay. Oh, NYY. Haven't seen that in a minute. How are you? Okay. How did you identify B? Okay. Hey, Giselle. So our B is our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is when our x value is equal to 0. And the original equation already gave us what our B was. Okay? So if we take a look, it's 0 comma y. Here's my 0, here's my y. So my y-intercept is a positive 1. Okay. So if we didn't know the y-intercept, okay, we'll keep the same thing. Let's say we didn't recognize that to be our y-intercept. Okay, no problem. But we found our slope. Are we all in agreement with that? Okay, we found our slope. So what you could do, and I'm going to do this one of two ways, and you pick which way fits you. Okay? So let's say I pick the first point, and I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. So if I pick this point 3, 5, that means 5 is going to be my y. The 4/3, that's going to be my slope. And the 3 is going to be my x plus b. Okay? We're going to use the equation of the line to find our b. Okay? Yep, or you can graph it. 1 of the 2. All right? So if we do that, remember, 3 times 4/3, when my denominator and the whole number are exactly the same, they cancel out to give me 1. So what's left is a 4. So we have 5 equals 4 plus b. Okay? If you wanted to put a 1 underneath the 3, you can do 4 times 3, which gives me 12. Over 3 times 1, which gives me 3. 12 divided by 3 gives me my 4. Now I want to isolate my b, so I need to subtract this 4 on both sides, which gives me 1. Okay. So that means the equation will be y equals 4/3 x plus 1. Okay, that's one way. The other way is our point slope. Okay, giving you choices, giving you options. Not too many options, just giving you options. So m times x minus x1. I'm going to still use that same point. And here's the thing. It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. Okay? It doesn't even matter. Okay? If I wanted to, I can use 0, 1. Okay? We'll use 0, 1. So that means we have y minus 1 equals my slope, which is 4/3, times x minus 0. Okay, this will be a lot easier. Because when I distribute, I'm going to get 4/3 x, and anything times 0 is 0. But I don't need the 0. I don't need the placeholder, because that 4/3 x is also there on the right-hand side of the equal sign. Then I have my y minus 1, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So this takes me right to my equations, because that cancels out. This gives me my 4/3 x plus 1. Forgot to box this one. Okay. And I'm going to write the word or. That's the one thing I do love about math. You got more than one way to get the same answer. Yup, just plug in what you know. Exactly, Peg. Exactly. Yep. All right. So if you're not sure, if you don't recognize it right away, then pick one of the two answers. As you can tell, it doesn't matter which one you pick because you're going to get the same answer. You pick one, plug it in for your x and your y, and then you solve. For this one, you had to solve for b, but in this one, you solved to give you the equation. And both of these equations match what we got in the beginning. Okay, you're so welcome. All right, questions. Okay, so for this one, I kind of want to write some steps down. Okay, so I'm going to slide this bad boy over. Let's see if I can write some steps down. So first step, we want to solve, or like find the slope, I should say. Okay, so it's going to be your change of y over change of x. So that would be your y2 minus y1. I'll do it my little way, but you can do it yours. Okay. So first we're going to find the slope. Then we're going to pick. Thank you for tapping. Pick one of the 2 points. Oops, I was thinking substitute. To substitute. Into either y equals mx plus b to find the b, or point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to find the equation. Oops. Oh, that's sneaking in there. Let's see. Ooh. Almost flung my... I wish you could see what I almost just did. I almost took my phone and just went across the room with it. That would have been hilarious. Okay. Bree, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because that's what I want to do. If I may be so blunt, I really want to break this cycle of I'm not good at math, so that means my students and my kids are not going to be good at math. Like, I'm tired of parents saying, oh, I wasn't good at math, so that means my child shouldn't be good at math. No. It's just a matter of looking at the patterns. Every bit of life has tons of patterns. So if I can break it down in a way that you can understand, I win, you win. Then that generational curse that people keep thinking we have is now forever broken. Okay? Even if you guys have kids and your kids are doing maybe homeschooling, or they're doing something else, like they're currently in a class and you feel that you can't help them, now you're learning some skills that you could possibly help them to a certain point. And then you call me to tutor your kid. That's what it is. All right, great. Oh, thank you, bestie. Hello, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa, I'm not sure if you guys know Lisa. She just passed her math GED. Yes, she did. She worked her butt off. I swear, it was like almost every live, there was Lisa. Yes. Oh, not a problem. Yes. I'm telling you, bestie, that is the thing. That's the key. Like, when you get to a certain pace, it does, like, how should I put it? The curriculum is definitely faster now. Ever since we came back from the pandemic, everything has gone like double speed, because they're like, oh, the pandemic didn't do anything for us. Look at our kids. They're excelling. Look at how many students there are on honors and AP classes. Yeah, and a lot of those kids are like, I don't know how the hell I got into this honors class, because I barely passed the class during the pandemic. So, yes. Oh, yay. Good. Oh, I'm so happy. Look at this. Oh, I love that. Congratulations. Congratulations. I love this. All right. Now, let's see. Let me show you 2 graphs and then we're done for today. And then what I'm probably going to do is later on tonight, I'm going to show you how to find the equation line that is parallel and perpendicular to linear equations. Okay, so that's what I think I'm going to work on for tonight. And then I'll go to church. Or I might actually do another late night. I'll do it after church. Because it is Good Friday, believe it or not, people. Like, there's a reason why. So this is helping me out so much. Good. Now, also, like I said, most of my lives, okay, I'm working on my copies of my notes, but most of my lives, I have, and I put yesterday or last night's, well, AKA early this morning's, live on my YouTube channel. So it's already up. So if anything, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I put all the recordings of my lives on there. So yes, I put it in there nice and raw. That's it. Because I'm not cutting in and all this other stuff, because that is way too much time. Because it took me a good 2 hours to upload it from TikTok, and then for me to upload it on YouTube, that took an additional hour. I went to the gym and then I came back, and then it was like finally just getting ready. So it does take time. All this, it's a lot of time. So I just have to figure something out. Okay, good. Yes, please do. Yeah, please subscribe to that. because I have like some of my shorts that I've taken from the lives, and sometimes I'm starting to go live in there as well. And for those that are currently in class, I know some of you guys' reviews are coming up, especially this month after the Easter break. People are getting ready for state assessments. If not state assessments, they're getting ready for their finals. So if you know anyone that maybe I can do, and of course that is going to be really, how should I put this? I know I'm very true to my one-to-ones sessions. And some people will think it's expensive. Some people will think it's like right on task. But I like to, because of the support that you guys have been giving me on TikTok, I like to give you guys the support that you guys have been giving me on TikTok. I like to give you guys getting on your concepts, because one, it's helping me with my content, because I could just jump around, or I can help you with your reviews. So if you give me an idea of your reviews, we could probably do a lot of review stuff on here. Okay. All right. Okay. So as promised, let me do a couple of these graphs, and I just want you to tell me what is the equation of the line. So we got this one. I'm going to put them up one at a time. I'm going to zoom in so you can actually see, but let me tape it down a little bit. And zoom her up. And tell me, what is the equation of this line? And then we're done for today. Pythagorean theorem, you need some assistance with that? Okay. So tell me my equation of the line, my y equals mx plus b. Okay. Oh, and also I do have, because I remember I did Pythagorean theorem early last month. So if you don't want to wait, it's also on one of the replays that's on my website. So if you want to look at Pythagorean theorem, you can go there as well for the meantime. Okay. But we could use this point here. Oh, sorry. It's a little sloppy. And we can use this point here. Okay. Yes. Because I know I have to go through the factoring, and I don't want you to wait too long. So if you want to look at Pythagorean theorem, I did. That's one of the videos that's on there. I definitely remember that. Okay. What do you guys think? What is my equation of the line? What is my equation of the line? What's my M? What's my B? Who is the brave soul? I feel like, who is the sacrificial lamb? They're like, I have an answer. Is the B 1? I know, right? Now remember, your B is where it crosses the y-axis. Where is it crossing the y-axis? Okay. So Lisa's saying is, nah, bye-bye. So Lisa's saying 1x plus -2. Okay, so we got -2. Jonah, how are you? Okay, Pay is saying is at -2. I was the lamb. You were. I would be like, ah. Dayton saying 2x minus 2. Is there a battle? Feel like Mortal Kombat right now. Fight. So Audrey, how would you like to explain, how did the fight go in your live today? How can you explain that? Well, we were doing math. One person said it was 1x minus 2, and the other person said it was 2x minus 2. And then all hell just broke loose. I don't know. All right, so what is the question? Okay. Am I getting filtered? I think you are. Okay, yeah, because I didn't see that. It's probably getting around that time. I noticed like after a certain time during the day, it filters it. Sorry, Tiffany, I didn't see that one. All right, so yes, my y-intercept is at -2. Okay, so for me to go from this point to this point, I would have to go up 2 and over 1. So if I go up 2 and over 1, I can say my line is y equals 2 over 1 x minus 2, or anything something is divided by 1 is itself. So I can say y equals 2x minus 2. Yeah, because they're counting by ones. Yep, rise over run. Okay. All right, so last one. Let's see. What was the question? So all we were doing is finding the equation of the line. So before we were solving the equation of the line and then graphing. So this time I'm giving you a graph and you're trying to find the equation of the line. All right. So let me move this over and let's get our last one for today. Well, for now, until later. Yeah, and I think I'll be here this Saturday as well. I just have tutoring in the morning and early afternoon, so it might be later. I have to double check my church time if it's going to be at 8, because I forgot if the service is at 7 or if it's at 5. I cannot remember. All right. 3D graphs, no. Because right now my system does not allow me to do, because you see everything's on pen and paper. So it's really hard for me to do 3D graphs right now. Okay. Sure, you're welcome. All right, let me zoom in just a little bit more so you can see the intercepts. Okay, what is my equation of this line? Okay, Lisa. So what would be my equation though, Lisa? If you could put it in that y equals mx plus b. There is something missing, Lisa. What's missing? What's missing with your equation? Besides the y equals, something else is missing. Right? Yeah, sometimes you just gotta learn when to take your turn though. Right, Bree? Like, when is it time for you to be the lamb and when is it time for someone else to step up? All right, and Chuck is saying negative 3 halves x plus 3. There you go, Tiffany. I see you now. So negative 3 halves x plus 3. Okay. All right. Okay, one more. To see if we all see it. All right. So first thing, always look to see what my y-intercept is. My y-intercept is right here, and the point here is 0, 3. So that means my b is going to be 3. Okay. Raise up a little bit. So now, from this y-intercept, I notice there's an x-intercept that I can count to. So I can go down 1, 2, 3. So that's going down 3. So that'll be a negative 3. And then over to the right, 2. So that would be a positive 2. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. Okay. Then I just bring down my x. Since it was a positive 3, it's a plus 3. And I have my y equals. Okay. Well, Caitlin should have let me know. She's like, this would have been useful yesterday before the PSAT. I know, I get it. But at least right now, yes, you just missed the negative. Yep, that was the only thing that was missing. Okay? Because if you take a look, yes. Oh, thank you, Tiffany. That would be lovely if you guys just do a mad tap. You can do a mad tap while I'm explaining. So if you notice, from left to right, this graph is going down. So anytime as my x's are increasing, my y's are decreasing. So that's telling me I have a negative slope. Unlike the last time, going from left to right, my graph is increasing. So as my x's are increasing, so are my y's. Okay, so it's showing that positive slope. So we have the positive slope. Let me unshrink a little bit. So positive slope, okay, maybe a little bit more. So I can fit both graphs on there. So this is giving us a positive slope. this is giving us a negative slope. And you know for sure that in especially the GED, they will give you the same graph and you'll be like, or the same equation, but one would be positive and the other one would be negative. So like if I was given this as maybe a GED AccuPlacer ASVAT question, and they said, okay, what is the equation of the graph? I don't have to do all the calculations. Just by looking at the graph and I'm noticing from left to right it's going down, that means my slope is going to be negative. So I'm looking at my answer choices to see which ones is giving me a negative slope. And usually you can limit it down to 2 choices. Then you're looking at the 2 choices and then you're looking at your y-intercept. Which one is giving me a positive 3? And the one that's giving you the positive 3, that's your answer. Notice we did that in less than 2 minutes. Okay? In less than 2 minutes. So when it gets down, okay, when it kind of gets down to, everybody wants to battle me all of a sudden. Let's battle Audrey. Like, no, I don't do that stuff. When it gets down to SATs, ACTs, also the AccuPlacer, GED, any of those assessments, they just want their answer. Okay, unless it is what's called a BCR, which is a brief constructed response, where you have to work out your answers, or an ECR, which is an extended constructive response. Unless it's a section that you have to write things out, they don't care. They just, do you know our answer? Do you know the difference between a positive slope and a negative slope? Okay. All right, not a problem. Yay, thank you. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate your time. Okay. Yes, so state assessments should be coming up after Easter. And I know as soon as you guys come back from Easter, you're going to start working on stuff that you're going to be like, what the heck is this? Or it's going to be a review of stuff that you did before, and it's going to be mostly like Algebra 1. Even if you're like in Algebra 2 or pre-calculus, you're going to start seeing a lot of pre-algebra stuff. And then those people that are taking AP classes, your test, your exam is right around the corner. You know, it's right around the corner. Everything, like the month of May is just nothing but testing. So anyone that's a test coordinator, God bless them. Give them a hug because they're not only doing state assessments, they're also doing, some of them are doing middle school assessments. Some of them are doing the AP assessments, and not just in math, but all the AP testing for the month of May. So if you know anyone that's a test coordinator and counselor, just go up to them randomly and give them a hug. They'll get it. They'll look at you weird at first, but then they'll be like, oh, she knows my pain. Or he knows my pain. Okay, you're an engineer? Yes. Yes, I do. Fractions. That one I think I would probably need to do more of. Yeah, because I don't think I did fractions. I did factorials. I didn't do fractions. Okay, so that's probably something I'm going to need to put in. I might actually add that in maybe for Sunday to do basic review concepts for Sunday night. All right, thanks, Bree. She's like, oh, you're welcome. So that's what I'll do Sunday night. That'll help me. So I'll do like fractions. I don't know if I did decimals and percents, but I'll do fractions with different denominators, decimals, and percents. And I'll do all that. Okay. All right. Have a good weekend. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of today. I might stop. Well, I'm going to stop in tonight to do parallel and perpendicular, and that's all I'm doing. And then we'll see what's going to happen for Saturday. Okay. But Sunday, I guess it's going to be basic math night. Okay. All right. No, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you guys. Be safe. Okay, everyone's starting to get a little froggy. I don't know about in your state, but here in Baltimore, people are getting crazy. Tonight it might be around 8:30, maybe earlier. I'm trying not to do the midnight run, but you never know how things go. All right. Okay, so I will see you guys possibly later. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye now.